Hey there, Trailblazers fans. Welcome into another episode of the 1977 podcast. A podcast for you Trailblazers fans, named in honor of that historic 1977 NBA champion Portland Trailblazers. I apologize for the delay between episodes. As my listeners here, I can assume, have been very, very busy, just like I have. The holiday seasons are in full swing. I feel like I'm still stuffed from Thanksgiving, even though that was like 2 weeks ago now. But everything's just a blur. Had lots of championships going on for the OSAA, crowned some football champs and all that. But we're back, baby. We're back. So this is the 1977 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. And, of course, you can follow me before every Trailblazers game over on Rip City Radio 620, where I host Blazers Game Day 2 hours before tip-off in the fifth quarter after every single Blazers game. And I'm bringing a little bit of that show to this one today. So, quite frankly, the word of the season for me has been focus. And the last few weeks, the focus for your Portland Trailblazers has not been there. It has been a rough go. And there was a moment in time where Coach Billups comes out and he comes into his post-game press conference and he's I just didn't think we were focused to start the game. Took us a little bit of time to get going, but once we got going, we got some defense, but we weren't focused is what he said. And he had said that so many times prior to that as well. We have heard this ongoing, we need to stay focused. We need to stay focused. And I was tweeted at or blue skied at. I can't even keep all my socials straight anymore, but someone told me that he has like a magic 8-ball for responses in losses and an 8-ball for responses in wins. And that's about how it feels like hey, so Chauncey, what was the problem there in the first quarter? Okay, reach under the desk, grab my 8-ball, shake it. I'm not sure. Could you ask that again? Yeah, Chauncey, what was the problem with the team there in the first quarter? Grab my 8-ball, shake it. Lack of focus. We just didn't come out focused. Thought we focused after a little bit, but we just didn't come out focused. And that was it's just frustrating me to no end, friends. And I tweeted the other day, I'm like, if he says like focus again, like we got to talk about focus. I was talking about this during the pregame show. Like, this is a him problem, right? It's a coach problem if that's all you hear is focus. Like, please don't. And then what happened? Oh my gosh, he came out that night in that press conference and said focus. We just didn't come out focused. And it's just so frustrating. So I don't know why that has turned into the word of the season, but that is the word of the season, focus. Makes me think of like The Rock lifting in the gym, the turns to the camera. Focus. Got to focus. The team's got to focus. You're going to get tired of hearing that word by the time this podcast is done. Focus. It is the new F word. Focus you. Try pulling that one out in random. Yeah, someone, cuts you off on the road. Yeah, focus you. But seriously, it is an F word. I don't like hearing it anymore. And the team has definitely lacked that focus. And they go into LA and they lose 127-105, and focus was an issue. And then they come in and they have the Dallas Mavericks, and focus was an issue to start the game. But once we locked it, like, why? Focus. And then you guys and girls out there, you have the absolute travesty that was that game just a few nights ago against the Utah Jazz at home, a 141-99 loss to the worst team in the Western Conference, the Utah Jazz. One of the two teams in the standings right now, worse than you, and you lost it. And that is demoralizing. Now, not all losses are created the same, right? Now you look at that loss against Memphis, and we've talked about that game before, but that game against Memphis, you're like, okay, like that sucked. That absolutely sucked. You come in, you get blown out. They don't have Ja Morant, they don't have Desmond Bane, they don't have Marcus Smart, and you just come out flat. No, you can go back to that game, and what was the response after that game? Yeah, we just weren't focused. Seeing a trend. We just walked into the gym like we didn't even want to be here. We didn't fight, blah, blah, blah. Got to focus, and that resulted in a 45-point loss. One of the top 10 losses in Blazer history, right? And then the Jazz come to town. And when the Jazz come to town, you're sitting here and you're looking at a team that comes in with just 4 wins, a team that is worse than you in the standings in the West. The only two teams worse than Portland are Utah and the Pelicans. and the Jazz come out and they basically just beat the brakes off you. They were up 33-17 after the first quarter. They outscored the Blazers 34-27 in the second. They outscored the Blazers 35-26 in the third. They outscored the Blazers 39-29 in the fourth. Outscored them in every single quarter. Team didn't come out focused. The team lacked so much focus in this that when you break it down to an individual level, DeAndre Ayton was pulled out early in the third quarter. I think it was like 2 minutes in. And Coach Billups was asked about it post-game, and the response, didn't like his spirit. Which is another fancy way of saying he wasn't focused, he wasn't hustling, he wasn't playing hard. There was a tweet, and I think it was Torrey Jones, Blazer Uprise, who tweeted it, about how you look at this play where there's a turnover and DeAndre Ayton just stands in the key and watches it. And there's Denny Avdia, who's just hustling his tail off and goes down and doesn't get the block, but he affects the play in transition. And then DeAndre comes in late to make it look like he was hustling, but he wasn't. And it was that type of play that let him to be pulled out of the game. He went with Jabari Walker, Jabari Walker has one speed. That's all hustle all the time. And it translated to some decent plays. Now you're outsized with him out there, out-talented a little bit, but at least you got hustle, man. Something you can root for. And what made this loss worse, in my opinion, than the Memphis one, is the Memphis one, you just got punched in the mouth, right? You got punched in the mouth by a team that even without their star and all, you can argue has some depth to them and whatnot. I don't care, but that was just, okay, you take the L, whatever. It sucks, but oh my gosh, I don't know. This loss hurt because it was a team that was worse than you in the standings, a team that had no business really beating you, and you just walked through this bad boy. I think the stat was, thanks to the principal Curtis Long, you guys can hear him on the radio broadcast, always bringing out the stats, that the Utah Jazz had not led by 20 points or more all season long. Until that third quarter, they had a 30-point lead. And then they go out and win by 42. So this was a game of games for the Utah Jazz. Portland has just become the get-right team. Or if you play Memphis, you just get to see, guaranteed that you get to see Yuki Kawamura if Memphis plays Portland. But that was just bad, okay? And let's go back to what made this game worse, in my opinion, was at the Memphis game, when you lost that one, that whole time you're like, oh man, this is bad. But you had people in the stands like, I get it. It's Memphis, and they're coached well, and they're deep. They still got Brandon Clark out there and Jaren Jackson, and it's this. I get it. This sucks, but I get it. This game against Utah, you had fans walking up the stairs to leave Moda going, this is embarrassing. Like, they didn't leave the Memphis game saying this was embarrassing, but they left this game just embarrassed to be there, embarrassed to be a fan for a minute. Embarrassed to go spend their hard-earned money for that performance, right? And I get it. And at the end of the game, partially because, Jabari wouldn't put the shot up to get him nuggets, but I mean just the chorus of boos coming from the rafters. The fan in front of me in media row holding up his hands, thumbs down, right? 2 thumbs down. And not in the cool way, like the Oregon Ducks, right, where they do the box and the thumbs down, a la Gladiator. It's kind of their thing. No, this was like, I am giving, this team sucks right now. I'm embarrassed. And that was the vibe. And that was, without a doubt, some of the worst vibes inside that building that I have felt in my lifetime as a fan and my decade covering the team. That was bad. I have not experienced fans walking out saying it was embarrassing to go to that game and be a Blazer fan that night. And that hurts. And that all comes back down to the word of the day, the word of the season, focus. Focus. This team cannot focus. This team will not focus. This team cannot figure it out. Look at this game against Utah real quick. Now, Toumani Camara, he only plays 8 minutes. He has a foot injury. His status is kind of game-to-game, day-to-day for a minute. But DeAndre Ayton, right? Your max player who was part of the Dame trade, who's supposed to be great, who I personally like from a vibes level in the preseason, right? He's funny. He does a good interview. But on the court, man, What did he do in this game? Your max player, your center, your guy who should be filling up the box score because he doesn't have Robert Williams and Donovan Clingan breathing down his neck for playing time right now because they're both hurt. 6 points, 4 rebounds. Terrible. Shaedon Sharpe, who wants to be the shooting guard of the future, and very well could be. We've seen, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, just for this game in particular, he has shown the ability to score buckets. This game in particular, though, 10 points. 3 of 12 shooting. Anthony Simons, who I don't know what's in the drinking water with him because he is having a down year all the way around, all the way across the board. Assists, rebounds, shooting, points, all down. He's supposed to be your go-to scorer right now. He's healthy. 10 points, 6 of 15 shooting. 14 points. Hustling gets you somewhere, though, because Delano Banton comes in. He is like Jabari Walker, all hustle all the time, 19 points. Denny Avdia is trying, but 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He's just getting gassed in these games right now. You could just go down the list, though, and it's just like these players that are supposed – and maybe it's because they know that they're trade fodder. But let me tell you what, the only player of the three, the main three that everyone talks about in trade talks, right? Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, and Anthony Simons. The only one that is actively working on possibly improving their trade value is Jeremy Grant. Because Jeremy Grant goes out there and he's still making buckets. He's still shooting. And after that first loss to Memphis, man, he turned it up and played defense at a level that I hadn't seen before, from him at least. But DeAndre Ayton, I mean, when you're a max center, man, you're out there going 6 and 4 and then getting benched because coach doesn't like your attitude and the way you're playing. You're really boosting your trade value. Anthony Simons, I don't know if it's on him as much as it is just a down year. But I've talked about this on the pregame show. Like, he was handed the keys to the kingdom, right? He was handed the keys. Dame left. It was supposed to be his. And now, again, stats down all the way around for Ant. And it's just weird. For him personally, it's just felt off all year long. He doesn't look to be in a rhythm when he's playing. I mean, when the broadcast is talking about, oh, it's so good to see him smiling again. Like, you know, like, was this Shawn Michaels Raw in 1995, 96? Like, I'm taking a break because I lost my smile. Like, that's not good. And again, look at the stats. 21-22, he has 17.3 points. That's when he starts to show that he can be a scorer. And then 22-23, 21 points. Last year in 46 games, 22 points per game. He's shooting lights out from three-point range, almost 40%. He's still out there getting 5.5 assists. Things are looking good. This year, everything. He has fallen from 22.6 points per game to 16.6 points per game. He's fallen from 5.5 rebounds to 5.5 assists to 4.5 assists. He's fallen from 3.6 rebounds to 2.7 rebounds. Now, granted, neither one of those is really part of his game, but his other numbers, like his three-point numbers, have gone from, again, almost 40%. He was at 38.5 to 32.9. 32.9 from the guy who's supposed to be your best three-point shooter. Like, that's not good. That's not good. That is not what you want. And to put that number in perspective, in 2018-2019, the year that the Blazers made that spectacular run to the Western Conference Finals, their starting power forward, Al-Farouq Aminu, who is widely picked on for his inability to hit shots at times, shot 34%. So currently, Anthony Simons shooting worse than Al-Farouq Aminu. In fact, in Al-Farouq Aminu's time in Portland, when, again, he was dogged for his three-point shooting ability, he shot 35%. 36, 33, 36, 34, roughly, his time in Portland and his seasons here. Ant right now shooting 32. Perspective on that one. Not great. So, again, how do you fix that? How do you get shots to fall? Well, the F word, focus. And that is the theme of the year. It's the theme for the rest of the way, because if you chalk this up, focus comes down and trickles down to one person. And that's Coach Billups. Because there is the saying in sports, right, that players make plays, players win games, okay? Terry Stotts did not take or make that step-back jumper over Paul George to dump OKC and advance, right? Terry Stotts did not put up the performance that CJ McCollum did in Denver in the playoffs. Terry Stotts did not come in with fresh legs like Rodney Hood did in 4 overtimes against Denver. No, he did not. Terry Stotts did not hit the shot over Yao Ming like Brandon Roy did, even though I'm saying this is before his time, but you get what I'm saying. Nate McMillan didn't make shots. Rick Adelman didn't make shots. But Clyde Drexler did. Mike Dunleavy didn't make. Damon Stoudemire did. Rasheed Wallace did. Players make plays. Players win games. But you go to the NBA Finals twice because Rick Adelman had the team focused and ready to go. Right? You go to the Western Conference Finals in 2019 despite everything working against you because A, you have a dude named Dame, and B, Terry Stotts and his coaching staff have you focused every single day and you are ready to go. It comes down to coaching at certain points. Yes, it does. You got to get them focused. So in these situations where continually focus is off, team just didn't focus. Who is responsible for making the team get focused? That's the coach. That is his job. He will draw up plays, players run the plays, players make the plays. Coach makes sure the preparation is sound. That is why the coaches who win, they get their sprinkles, as my friend Justin Myers would say. Winners get sprinkles. Coach Popovich, he made sure the Spurs were focused. Eric Spoelstra, he's made sure Miami's focused. Now, yes, Miami wins a title with LeBron, right? But they also got one with an aging Shaq and Dwayne Wade. And they've been kind of a pillar of consistency here and a very good team. Even when they have bad rosters, they're a good team. Why? Because their coach gets them ready. Makes sure they're focused. Focus matters. Focus comes down to the coach. My opinion, and perhaps my opinion only. If you agree or disagree with me, hit me up on social, Chris J. Burkhardt. Tell me how wrong I am. But if you heard me make this rant, that does mean you listened, and I appreciate that. But to me, that's on coaching. And if you say that every single press conference, focus, we got to be focused. Focus was off. We weren't focused to start the game. Well, then change what you're doing because it ain't working. It seems pretty simple, right? It seems pretty simple. Sometimes maybe you just chalk it up to those things that are easier said than done. Changing things that need to be changed. Wild, ain't it? Well, I appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to my rant today on focus. Like if this were Sesame Street, F would be the letter of the day. Focus would be the word, right? And the number would be 82 because there are 82 games in the season, and you have to focus for every single one of them. As Chauncey said after the game the other day, hey, I've been around this league long enough to know that in an 82-game season, you got 2 or 3 games like this. Well, you've had 2 or 3 games like this in 23 games? Yeah, not a great look. Not a great look. Get the team focused. Focus you. That's the word of the day. I'm going to use that in real life. All right, again, thank you so much. This has been another episode of the 1977 podcast. I'll bring them with a little more frequency from now on. These holidays, man, they get crazy, but I'll do my best because you guys are awesome as well always. Again, you can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt and before and after every Trailblazers game on Rip City Radio 620. And as I do say occasionally on Courtside Monday on Rip City Radio, I'm going to bring it here. It's my thing. Rip City. I love you.
You've been listening to the 1977 podcast. See you next time.